have a monkey in your pants?
Right guys, how's it going? Just a quick video for you. I'm actually back, just not long back in from work I should say. And while I was at work I was having a text conversation with one of my friends who's is the guy that bought the NES off me, the extra NES that I had, and he's recently bought himself a Super Nintendo, a Game Boy, some other little bits and bobs. And he asked me if you could get like an SD card reader, sort of flash card for the NES, and I was like, I've never seen one. And I was like, you can get them for the SNES though, and I was like, I sent him a link, and I was like, don't do it though, get the proper games. But then he came back and says, well, I've not really got the disposable income as such. Do you know what I mean, to maybe buy all the games that he wants, which is a fair point, and which is when these flash cards would work out better for him, if you would like. So then it got me thinking, flash cards, what are your thoughts on them as a retro gamer and as a collector? I've never really thought about them, to be honest with you. If I am saying that, I've got a compact flash card installed in the Amiga, but the reason I've got that and my thoughts behind it is games load a lot faster. Floppy disks will not last forever. They can just stop working randomly, and I've got all the games in one little place rather than having 3 huge boxes of 1,000 floppy disks, which I've got in a cupboard somewhere actually. So I have got one for the Amiga, but I've never really thought about it for the other cartridge-based consoles before. I don't know why. I've always thought I would rather have the cartridges and collect them, but more so recently, for example, myself and Retro Dave Nintendo, we picked up some games from an eBay seller who was selling reproduction cartridges to basically make them up for you in Spain and send them across, and they're really good quality. So for example, you can get Super Mario RPG and it looks like a PAL cart. I'll actually get it for you, stay there. I'm back. So as I was saying, you can get reproduction cartridges, and this is going somewhere, so bear with me. Reproduction cartridges, or you could off this eBay seller. So for example, Super Mario RPG, PAL cart, good condition, looks like a genuine game, plays on a PAL machine though. Now that game was never released in this country, so do you know what I mean? I was then looking for the likes of Chrono Trigger, Earthbound, Final Fantasy 3, or I think it was maybe called Final Fantasy 6 in Japan, those sort of games, and this seller that done these on eBay has since disappeared. There is one more that's cropped up, but you're looking basically for a reproduction cart about £60, which is a lot of money, and I was desperately wanting Earthbound for the SNES, and I was actually a bit miffed when I went to get it and the seller that I bought this from had disappeared off eBay. Hold on, I need a drink. Check out my Thomas cup. It's like hologram and everything. Sorry. So I was wanting Super Mario, not fucking Super Mario, Earthbound. And now I'm not going to buy an NTSC version of it because the game's fucking expensive if you know what the game is all about. So then it got me thinking. Once I sent my mate the link for the Super EverDrive, and I was like, hold on, the cost of that is more or less the same as the cost of a reproduction cartridge. Now, obviously, it's not its own cartridge as such with a nice label on it for every single game. But it got me thinking, I could buy this Super EverDrive, or there's a Super UFO Pro or whatever, but I think the Super EverDrive is better from what I've seen. I could buy that for more or less the cost that it would cost me to buy this, and it would enable me to play any game basically. Now, I wouldn't buy it. Fucking people are talking to me on my phone, excuse the buzzing. I wouldn't buy it to play F-Zero, Donkey Kong Country, R-Type, games like that, because they're games that I've got them anyway, but they're games that I can buy. My main purpose would be to buy it to play the games that were maybe exclusive in the US market or North America, for example. So the likes of this, which I've already got obviously, but your Chrono Trigger, your Earthbound. So I could buy this cart for the £60–70 and then download the ROMs onto it. You know what it's like, a wee bit ROMs are ROMs, they exist, so we'll just fucking talk about them. Download the ROMs to the cards and then play them from there. They get, which is a solution rather than spending £60 on every one of these, considering the sellers disappeared as well. I don't know, I'm waffling shit now, so I'll have another drink and I'll rethink my thoughts. But it's curious what your thoughts on it is, or I should say. I wouldn't be using it. I still want to collect the games, but there's the danger. For example, Demon's Crest. I should know, I fucking got the game. It's expensive enough. If there was that game that I wanted to get, and it was really expensive, and I could be tempted just to download the ROMs, which takes away from the whole sort of collecting side of it, which I do enjoy as well. So, flash cartridges, what are your thoughts on it, guys? Really curious. I probably will get it so I can play the exclusive games that weren't available in this country and really try, unless I'm sitting one night and I go, I really want to play Blur, I go, I've not got that game, but I want to play it right now, really right now, then unless it's like that, I'll still look to buy the game, so I've actually got the physical cartridges, because it's half the fun of this retro side of thing as well, collecting the games. Or I could just fucking sit on my bumhole and play emulators all day long, but it's not the point. So, and obviously there's the Japanese games that have had translated ROMs in English and games like that. So there's a lot of possibilities of use for the cart, for the Super Everdrive or the Flashcart, whatever you want to call it, rather than just downloading every single Super Nintendo game and playing them, which is not what I want to do, because I want to be collecting them. But I think I will use them solely for the idea of the USA, the North America, whatever, release only games, exclusive games, and possibly some Japanese English translated ROM games, if that makes sense. What were your thoughts on this, guys? Have you ever thought yourself, for example, fuck me, if you had a tiny space in your house, I know, for example, you get R4 carts for DSs and all that, I know some of you have mentioned that before, but if you had tiny space in your house, and you didn't have space for that with all the games, and I plan on having another two over this side, if you didn't have space for it, you could get a reasonable little 14-inch, whatever, 21-inch CRT TV, get a couple of consoles, and get those carts, SD card slots. You don't need a fucking shit bucket load of space, so that side of things is a good idea as well. Or if you genuinely just want to play the games and you don't have the money, you might have the money for the consoles, but not to buy the games or the games that you want. It's a reasonable idea. But for me personally, if I do this and buy this Flashcart thing, it will be solely for the exclusive games to North America, Japan, etc. It sounds like I'm trying to convince myself, I'm trying to convince you, but it's not the case at all. But serious, curious on your thoughts, guys. Do you use these yourself? Have you thought about using them? Would you possibly use them for the same sort of thing as I? For example, there might be a ridiculously expensive game that you would never ever afford. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Or like the exclusive games. I know some other YouTubers out there, for example, certainly do it. Some big ones with Mega CDs and Amiga CD32s and whatnot, and Dreamcast, because you can just burn the games. But it's cheating to a certain degree, is what I said. Cheating. There's no fucking rules, but do you know what I mean? A lot to think about. That's why I just came on and thought, I'm in from work, I'm going to talk some shite, because I've got an empty house, no family just now. So, once again, curious to see what your thoughts are on this, guys. But I think it's certainly a way for me to easily play Earthbound, for example, or Chrono Trigger on a proper hardware, proper TV, rather than buying an NTSC machine or a £60 reproduction cart. Don't get me wrong, reproduction carts look tasty, but like I say, the sellers disappeared. So I'll leave you with that before I waffle shite anymore. But as always, guys, thank you very much for watching. And I hope this fucking webcam's playing ball and I don't need to do this again. But I'll see you next time.
Do you have a monkey in your pants?